All righty. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this week's Marketcast call. If you wouldn't mind, as always, before we get started, I always like to make sure everybody can hear me and they can see the screen up there. All right. Good morning to all of you as well. Give everybody a second or two here to get on board with us. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Getting a little, starting to feel a lot more like fall out there. Yeah, good morning. Good morning. Spent my weekend up in Michigan. Seems like it's got a little cooler since then, but all right. Yeah, it was pretty nippy there as well, but really nice during the day. It was like mid 70s, not too shabby at all. But anyway, getting even colder in Brooklyn. Yeah, I believe it. And creates some of those fun little challenges. My youngest is one of those that's kind of ultra sensitive to clothes. So real funny about pants that one is. Okay, I don't know what to tell you. But, all right, let's get into some market stuff. Um, Relatively nice looking day on Friday. I was off the grid for a lot of the day. Um, but kind of opened higher. I think we had non-farm, so opened higher, and then took a dip, and then right back up we went. Finished on a pretty good note. I might have thought that, and maybe we are, but I would think coming into this week we might be looking at at least a higher start to the week. Of course, not looking quite as spiffy in the pre-market if you come over here, but 0.5%, probably not the end of the world. But that's one thing we did see a decent amount last week, and even over the past few weeks, it's been a little bit, um, maybe more challenging on that day to day. We've had a lot of these days where it looked like the market would go higher the next day, and it didn't. If you go back to last Monday, you know, one would think going higher, nope, back down we go. So it's been, I don't even know that it's all that too terribly um, surprising given the lower volatility environment here. There's not too terribly much exciting happening. So when we get that, and it almost feels like there's enough current, right, to send us in a direction. If you look over the past 3 weeks or so now, the market really, at least the S&P, really hasn't went anywhere. Just mostly just stuck. So I mean, you kind of popped up here to that new high, and not a whole lot going on. But all we can do is follow the market, right? Whatever the market tells us, and know that sometimes, hey, market throws it back at you. But I don't know that there's too, uh, you know, I don't know that it's too hard to tell. But Friday looked like a day that we might expect to continue going higher. So uh, that's what I'd expect today. But again, as we just stated, thought that last week too, and not a whole lot happened. Let's see what else here. And I haven't really looked at much in the way of stocks. So we can kind of do that here as we go through. Just kind of look at a few here and there. Although I do want to take a look at see what gold was doing. I don't know if I have too much to say about that. Kind of is what it is on that front. So, but I just want to take a look. Take a look at some oil here. Hopefully, there we go. What's going on here with the delay? Tell you what, I have had all kinds of technical difficulties over the past few days. Keeping an eye on our buddy Bido. Although there's probably some more exciting ETFs out there, but or Bitcoin linked ETFs, but this is the one we have typically been following. So yeah, still looking through a move up there. So, all right. Anyway, let's see. Let's go down some of our favorites here. Nothing special. Meh. Nothing special. I mean, NVIDIA, we kind of highlighted this triangle last week, specifically the resistance on the top side. I don't, I personally don't tend to get too terribly giddy just because you connect 2 points here. Um, I think, the more times you test a line like this, as I like to say, the more valid we know that it might be, right? In other words, we can connect any 2 points we want. Doesn't really mean a whole lot. I mean, market may care, but there's an infinite number of possibilities, right? But you start getting 3 and 4 tests of that line, and now it's like, okay, the market's drawing this line, and it's starting to stand out as being more meaningful and having a higher probability of being meaningful, right? So anyway, we got that triangle there, so that's one thing. But I think I'd rather see it get up through this 130. I mean, all in all, no matter what the market does, I think there should be a little bit of a cautiousness. Obviously, we have this kind of rising wedge type look on the S&P, but October commonly hasn't been all that friendly when you look at seasonality, presidential years, election years, right? It hasn't tended to be too terribly friendly. You start getting into that second week or so in particular. So definitely some caution to be advised, but we go back to, I remember specifically, on the February March stretch of this year, seasonally, that's not supposed to be a great time of year either, and we rallied right on through it. So take seasonality for what it's worth, um, but historically, but anyway, regardless, any kind of October pullback or not, I mean, I think ultimately the path is still going to be up, still a bull market. No reason to really question otherwise uh, at this stage. I wouldn't think. Seen a lot of curious, we'll call it, indicators that make you wonder how this wonderful little run up from the 2022 low ends. Make no mistake about it, it'll end, right? But if you go back, been a pretty good run up 2 years in, but don't see any reason that wouldn't expect to see some more juice to it. So no matter what, any potential pullback, I would think leads to just more highs. And once we start seeing reasons to think otherwise, we'll point them out. But anyway, all right. So where were we? Did Nvidia? Did Apple? Let's go down here to Dell. I mean, I don't really have a whole lot to say about that. Oh, I swear. Are the China guys still doing their thing? Up another $2. Ought to be spectacular when this thing ends. But for now, it's just up at all costs. So on one hand, it's pretty straightforward. These guys are just doing nothing but going up. On the other hand, I think you'd be pretty naive not to be a little bit concerned about getting long up here. But so far, it's been a toddler's market with these guys. Just put your toddler on your lap, let them hit buy, and even they make money. That's how easy that has been. Tesla finally, they had their numbers come out last week, took a little bit of a dive, but it sure looked like when you panned out, it sure looked like this wants to go higher. Not sure how much I put into this trend line, but overall, looks like a stock that wants to at least get back up to here. This trend line has been tested quite a few times. So that gets you at least, right up around close to 75-ish. Your 52-week high that also goes back here is 270. So there's a lot of resistance you get up there, 270, low 270s, right? So by the time the stock might get there, this is probably coming to 270. So it's probably going to be one and the same. But you can see that old test of 270 here and here. So looked like we were headed there last week. But again, those numbers came out, their numbers, and obviously wasn't too terribly thrilled by it. Yes, all right. Let's keep on going here. HNF had looked like it maybe finally turned around a little bit. I would be probably more interested above 250 once it starts trying to fill that gap from back in August there. So I think if you take out this 150, get a nice close, I think you're at least looking to 160, but in all likelihood back to 170. It's one that we like trading quite often. Nothing doing. Microsoft not looking great. Oops. Come on. Well, Meta having a nice Friday. Nothing there. Yeah, I don't know if it's because it's getting colder or what, but it's been like this for a couple of days. I see a whole lot with some of these guys. It's a nice finish on Friday here. Yeah, so China stock's still doing well. I'd watch NVIDIA for that move, potentially higher there. Not seeing a whole lot else that would interest me. At least not right now. Just how the week kind of progresses. What else we got down here? We liked CRM last week. We thought it would get to 290 on Friday. Didn't quite make it, but still looking pretty good. I would think it wants to make it clear up here. So assuming the market moves higher, of course, 293, 294, I think this is where you're headed. And try to finish the job that this one started. If you can clear that hurdle, then now I think you're looking back to the 310. I didn't quite get what we wanted there. Crowd still looking good, looking like something that's running up to 300. In all likelihood, higher, right? If it keeps its trend, keep it simple, right? Low, 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 high, high, right? Higher highs, higher lows. Higher high would take you above 300. So, but for the shorter term traders, 300 would seem to be the most obvious thing there. What else? Excuse me. And who else have we been watching a lot? Like VST keeps moving. VST was an easy trade last week. If for those that were on any calls, you go right here. Obviously, this favored benefited from pretty favorable news. But look at that 120. 4 days in a row, and all we need was a breakthrough 120, probably going higher, and that's where we went. Yeah, not bad at all. So now, as far as here, it's kind of like the again that China batch of stocks. Got to be a little bit, Remember, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Stocks to go straight up in the air like this, I guarantee you they stop eventually. Every time, all the time, right? And more often than not, if not always, tends to end badly. Not necessarily the overall trend or anything. Just saying this straight up in the air stuff. Go find the security where it didn't end badly at some point, right? Usually not well. So definitely be cautious. I think if you want to go long on something like this, I don't know that problem with Futu in particular. We looked at this a couple times last week. Problem with Futu in particular was the premiums to hedge it were pretty pricey. Like yeah, even if you want to go 110s, Now granted, it'll be a little less after the open today, but still, you know. But hey, if you can get $10 moves in one direction or the other, but yeah, look at this. What are the 130s here? Look at this 130s. They're gonna make you pay for it. It's amazing. $8. So yeah, anyway, makes it a little hard to do anything with. PDD is a little better priced, a little bit, but I don't know, like the one. Well, actually, a lot. It's a lot better. Like check the next one up right here. You're only at 5. But again, most of our trades are looking at current week, so I'm speaking within that context. All in all, this looks like it's challenging the highs. I would think 160 at least, but uh, yeah. So let's go back to our buddy Lulu. Thought that was taking out that 280, didn't quite make it happen. What else we got here? Like we said, Meta's looking pretty nice. China stocks are looking good. I'd be watching a video for the breakout. Crowd and CRM. Right. So Crowd and CRM, I think too. We liked them last week. CRM again, we had a target of 290, didn't quite make it. We had the 285 calls going into Friday. But still looks good, even if it didn't quite get where we wanted it to. Same thing here. App, another one that just kind of keeps going here. We put that on, obviously, in Paragon, targeted to 140. Hit 140.02. So that worked out. What else do we think? Oh, that's the other ETF that I liked. It's this one. I think I like this better than bigger. Yeah, because I took it out. That's right. So pretty good point here. Sure looks like, right? Could be putting in a little bit of a triangle there. All right, who else? Do we get everybody down here? Just take a look at FedEx real quick. Yicky. think that's about it. I think everybody from last week. Now PGR has hit this 260 mark a couple times. So that's one that I kind of like. I like the stocks that are just telling you what to do, right? VST, as we mentioned, it was telling you, hey, if I break through this 120 mark is a problem, 4 days in a row. Kind of is telling you, hey, if I break through, probabilities seem to be towards the upside. So I see something like that PGR. Okay. Like this, don't care. Not really, wouldn't care at all. So moving above. But this, right? Now tested it a couple times. Take out 260. I'd probably target in 270. So like that one. The video has that nice little breakout point that we like. Right? Where it's just kind of telling you, hey, I really have a problem with 130, right? So get through that, clear out the rest of that supply, right? So that's why even though something like a Futu or any of these China stocks or things going straight up in the air, yeah, it may sound nice and you get a little FOMO, right? But it doesn't interest me as much unless I can hedge it. So that's where Futu comes in as problematic. I don't know what's happening here. Yeah, I don't see much else here, folks. Maybe this delay is annoying. PayPal coming back. Good for you. Some stuff like this I may take out of my list, or just try to find something better. It's not really what it used to be. Might just throw a meta in there just to get rid of it. Just to get rid of it. Like some of these charts just look kind of trashy now. All right, so that's what we got, folks. Nothing too terribly special. A few there. I think there's a few worth. Like if you like the volatility, which we do, obviously those China stocks, but we're gonna have to wait till later in the week get those premiums a little lower. Obviously, Meta looking pretty good. PGR has a nice level I'd be watching. There's a few here and there. ANF again mentioned the 150 CRM, crowd. I think those two look nice to move higher. Market wise, as we mentioned, it you know last week ended pretty well. Um, so we'd be expecting to buy into this. Obviously, overall, the path has been up, and don't see any reason why ultimately we wouldn't expect this trend to stay up, even if there is some headwinds or some you know obstacles here in October. So, but yeah, other than that, let's come back next week. We'll do it again. Got another coaching webinar coming up, so we'll talk about that maybe next week a little bit. Oh, Tesla, that was another one to keep an eye on too. So Tesla, as far as the upside, the Tesla, the crowd, the CRM, Meta's looking pretty good. So we got a few that are worth watching, and here goes VST again. Just look at me, I'm VST. But, all right, everybody, have yourself a wonderful week. I'll meet you back here next week. Good luck in the trading, everybody.